All right, you all, welcome back to the 11th edition of the Diggie A-2 Season 1 podcast. I am just having so much fun doing what I'm doing. So you all can see we're going to get t-shirts out here real soon. We got merch coming out soon. So it's just a blessing, man, from where my idea started with these little pieces of paper right here, the original piece of paper. Where this started about 90 days ago to where we are now, just tremendous. And I'm just so blessed and so happy to collaborate with individuals that are like-minded like me, that are out there getting money. But make sure that you all subscribe to the channel if you're a fan of hip-hop, if you're a lover of hip-hop. As I mentioned, we're focusing on this season. Season 1 is all about the 80s. And one of the things that I want to mention in this episode is the illustrious 2 Live Crew. So 2 Live Crew, them guys was something else. And I got a special guest on this week. This special guest, his name is Kyle Babb, and Kyle is from the One Voice radio station that just launched yesterday here in Kansas City, Missouri. And they showcase different artists here that are independent, trying to get their voices heard. And I have the honor and distinct privilege of introducing Kyle to the show this week. So Kyle, thank you for joining me, man. You're on live, man. I appreciate you spending time on the Sunday with me, man. So if you could just really quickly introduce yourself to the fans, and most importantly, why did you fall in love with hip hop, man?
All right, man. My name is Kyle Babb, man. I go by Cal 10. I'm up here, a representative of One Voice Radio, vice president. So did the launch yesterday. So people, if you got that, you have a Android device, go to the Play Store, download One Voice Radio. It's dope, 24/7. We give a platform for independent artists, not only just in our region but nationwide. So if you know somebody in another state that has music, be kind to share it. Let us know. Hit us up on Facebook, One Voice Radio. We've been doing a thing. Well, and where I fell in love with hip hop, man, is the process into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you to write verse is challenging. What make you think that at that moment? Where's these metaphors and similes and how you put it together, the wordplay, how you get that to rhyme. You look at Eminem and how he can make words that shouldn't rhyme. And you look at where hip hop has started and to how it's evolved now. You know what I'm saying? The elevation in the process, I've really been intrigued the whole time. I've done it, just done my part in hip hop, either if it was just writing or playing a verse here and there. But, it's like just you get to see different, it's an art. And, when you work with art, you work with different mediums. Like if you paint a picture, you're using either watercolor or oil or whatever medium. Or if you drawing, you may use a lead pencil, or you may use color pencils or chalk or pastels or something. Everybody's got a different approach in this full body of work. It's the culture, and to see it all blend together, it's just beautiful.
It is. And what I will say is it's also beautiful having you being a guest on my podcast, man. So I am blessed and humbled, man. Like, real talk, man. We were able to talk earlier this week and just through connections and with the One Voice Radio. If you guys didn't know, had the launch event yesterday. Today is July 12th. The launch event was July 11th. Where they had a launch party. Me and Jess were able to go out there and just kick it with the entire crew and mesh, and it was an awesome event, man. So shout out to you guys, and we're going to get to that here a little bit later, but we're going to talk about the 2 Live Crew, you guys. I'm shaking my head even thinking about 2 Live Crew, man. Let me get a sip of my Hennessy real quick. Hold on before I...
See, hey, you on the right wave right there. See,
because I tell you, my dude, like 2 Live Crew, these guys were, okay, so a little bit of history. I'm going to show the accolades real quick. 2 Live Crew was originally from California. They migrated to Miami through Luther Campbell. When Luther Campbell heard the sound, said, yo, I like you guys. I'm going to sign you to my label, which was Luke Skywalker Records at the time, but then he had to remove the name because of the lawsuit with George Lucas. He lost a lawsuit, so he had to change his name. But with that all being said, the 2 Live Crew is had a DJ named Mr. Mix. Now, Mr. Mix is responsible as the godfather of the Miami bass sound. So I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, as you all can see, which is in close proximity of, well, not really close. We'll say a few hundred miles from Miami. But in Atlanta, we adopted a little bit of the Atlanta bass sound based off of the Miami bass sound a little bit. So a little bit different. You put a little bit more soul and R&B into it. But if it wasn't for the Miami bass sound, Atlanta wouldn't have their bass music as well. So it kind of blends in regards to that. But lots of accolades for the 2 Live Crew. So one of the things I do want to mention as their biggest accolade is they are the first Southern hip hop group, Kyle, to have a platinum album. Their album that was called Nasty As They Wanna Be is the first Southern hip hop album to be multi-platinum. So they will get my respect in regards to that. And Luther Campbell won the I Am Hip Hop Award back in 2017 because of his contributions to hip hop. So with all that being said, I'm gonna pass the mic to you here in a second here, Kyle. I want to get your opinion about this. When we talk about 2 Live Crew, do you think they are dance music or are they hip hop? How would you categorize their music or their style or their musicianship?
Like it goes back to what I was just saying earlier. It's like when you think of art as different mediums, his was a different approach. More the dance part. It's a dance part of hip hop. I don't think that it was more of the like he didn't have the wordplay like some of like Rakim or Eric B or anybody like that. He was a person, you know, Luke and Uncle Luke and 2 Live Crew had that music that like, you know what I'm saying, for parties. You know what I'm saying? That's just got you out your seat and shaking something.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you think about it like, you know what I'm saying, like you know, I would say if it was technical, it wouldn't be so much as a hip hop, it would be more like rap.
Okay.
Rap is not, you know, is not more lyrical based and more making you think more. It's a more simplistic approach to the rhyming methods. You know what I'm saying? When you try to break it down. So he was more of like a rap dance kind of a rap dance kind of a group. When I want to listen to Luke, I'm not trying to like learn, you know what I'm saying, get knowledge dropped on me.
Yeah.
It's masses shaking around me or something. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's just like the same as when you look at it like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, you know, party music. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. I'm not gonna look at Lil Jon and tell me, to drop some knowledge for me, conspiracy theories and the history. You know, I'm not expecting that from him. I'm not going to look for it from him.
Right.
Like what Luke has done, you know what I'm saying, as far as like the evolution of hip hop, he's a staple in it. And yeah, he's I think that like what he's done is what laid, you know what I'm saying, laid the path for people in later generations in hip hop and rap to advance. You know, he has to take sacrifices and go through things so other people will be able to benefit it. They'll have knowledge from it and grow and not learn from what he ran into.
Yeah, and when you speak about the sacrifice, so lots of times Luke does not get the credit he deserves, and I'll be the first one to admit it myself. When I was growing up in Atlanta, Georgia, in the '90s, I was not a fan of Miami-based music. I wasn't even a fan of Atlanta-based music because I was more into East Coast hip hop. You know, the Wu-Tang Clan, Tribe Called Quest, and De La Soul, and all the other Nas and all the East Coast things that were coming out. I wasn't really interested in that, but what as a young kid, I didn't realize how much of an impact he had, because if Luke doesn't win that court case in 1990 about censorship, and we talked about this off air, about the First Amendment rights of freedom of speech, because nasty as they want to be, if you guys, you go roll back the tape and look, that was the very first hip hop album that was censored, which means that was the very first hip hop album that you could get arrested for selling that particular album at your store, right? So people were getting arrested in Miami for selling the album, and it was underground. And Luke was like, "Yo, I'm trying to make this album, for adults, not for the kids," and got caught up in it. And without him making that sacrifice, without him winning that court case, I don't know what hip hop would look like in 2020, because you would not have the freedom to say what you want to say if he doesn't win that court case. So I'm passing the mic back to you, Kyle, on this one, man. So you talk about his impact. His impact to me is solidified in hip hop just because of that. It may not be more of what he had to say or his videos, but what is your opinion on that? If he doesn't win that court case, man, hip hop is not hip hop, just at all. So what do you think about that?
You know what? It will be watered down. It'll be too clean. People are you would I think it'll still be a challenge. It would still be some good content. I'm saying, like, like, think about it, like people like Will Smith and other people who had like some pretty decent rap careers who didn't curse at all in their rhyme.
Right.
So I think hip hop was still kind of worked his way around. I think what Luke did was he went to the Supreme Court and fought that, won that, so people can be unfiltered. They can really express themselves. That's what the freedom of speech is for. The First Amendment is our right to say whatever the fuck we want to.
Yep. No.
Hey, and him fighting for that, it was just like, whenever some people, whatever you wanted to debate, at the end of the day, when you say the expletive on your album, and he fought for that.
Yeah. And to go to your point, I think hip hop would look a lot different. Would definitely feel a lot different. But one of the things I want to get back to really quickly is the sound. Let's talk about his sound, his style of music, right? The Miami bass, the 808 drums that's hitting you hard in your face. You know what I mean? So without the sound of the Miami bass coming out of the South, and a lot of things that I forget, and mind you, I'm from Atlanta. So I didn't give Luke the accolades that he should have received, because without Luke, there wouldn't be no Outkast, there would be no T.I., there would be none of the major hip hop, Ludacris, and the major hip hop artists that came from Atlanta. Without Luke setting the foundation for Southern hip hop artists to be taken seriously. But what I want to mention is, what about the sound? What is one of the first things that you noticed when you heard the Miami bass sound? How did that resonate with you when you first heard that?
It was something new. It was something different. You know what I'm saying? You hear so much the East Coast, New York based hip hop of Queens, Bed-Stuy, that whole East Coast music. And then you hear in West Coast, and they got their whole sound.
Right.
But when you hear down south sound, you hear those 808s, you hear that kind of song, you be like, wow, this is something different. You kind of gravitate to it, because it's kind of got an upbeat tempo, and it's got you moving. You know what I'm saying? You looking around, it's got other people moving.
Yeah.
Those, just the 808, the whole drum kit, you know what I'm saying? You get that going, you put it in the right sequence and right tempo, and you got people just dancing. The whole South is they live off the 808s.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt, and I'm a big fan. Later in my years, right, I got more to be a fan of and appreciative of that. But early on, I was like, no, not really. I'm more into the boom bap, kind of, sort of, as opposed to the 808s, the hard bass line, the hard drum kicks. But now, translating that music now into 2020. So here's what I want to get your opinion about this. So, do you think the Two Live Crew would have been as famous as they were in 1989 as they would be in 2020? And what I mean by that is, do you think their music would translate into today's time? What do you think about that?
I think it probably would.
Okay.
What's different from the music that we hear today that differs from what they were saying then?
Right.
Shake your ass. Pretty much that's what it is.
Same thing, right? Yeah.
We can sum it up to two words: shaking ass. And that's pretty much what it is. If you want to go to a club, you play that. That's something that sounds bopping. It's the 808 drums get the people dancing. That's my jam. They out there.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like the rhyming schemes is not so complex. If you listen to some of the guys in the newer generation, is very they not really dropping bars.
Yeah.
It's something simple and something catchy, and they throw a lot of auto tune in it. They probably Two Live Crew probably won't have auto tune, but
Yeah.
the you know that's pretty much music now. I mean,
Yeah, it is. It is. And
real
yeah,
hip hop is coming back. I feel like it's really coming back strong.
I would hope so. I think that the older generation is critical of the new kids coming up, and it's only because we're so stuck in our way. We're so used to seeing originality, and to me, it sounds like all the music is kind of sounding the same. But I think Luke and Two Live Crew definitely solidified themselves with music, and they don't look like or they don't sound like anything else that has come up. Not even,
Right.
let's see, I've done 11 shows so far, and Two Live Crew, if you all go back and listen to Nasty as They Want to Be, that does not sound like anything else that I've covered so far in this entire season, because they were nasty, they were raunchy, and
Yeah.
it was successful, right? It's kind of like my equivalent of like musical porn. Like, you know what I mean? It's taboo. You don't really speak about it, but people they still want to see it, right? You know what I mean? Like, you still want to, look up on look at your dad's Playboy magazines or whatever, you know what I mean? Because you're so drawn to it. And it was kind of the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you couldn't really get access to it. So they put the sticker on there. So if you're under, I think it was under 17 and below, you couldn't buy any of that music that had that little black sticker on there, right? So Luke
Right.
Campbell is responsible, you guys, for that black sticker. I mean, he has revolutionized how we listen to music, and I think that if he does not win that court case in 1990, hip hop will look and feel a lot different than what we have on the radio
And, and,
now.
and look and look at it when you sum it all up, sex sells. Sells. And like look at it. Look at a young kid that's like walking in a record store and everybody like, oh, Two Live Crew, Luke. And then you see the parental advisory sticker on there and you can't buy it as a young kid. But now you're curious. So like look
Yeah,
at you got someone who's still gonna buy your album. At that time they was gonna buy your album maybe a year or two later. Like, man, I'm old enough now. I the Luke album. I couldn't wait to get it, and then you get it because at the time it's like that. At that age, at that time, that in the '90s, '80s and '90s, and early 2000s, you were buying CDs, you was buying cassette tapes and
yeah.
stuff. We didn't have streaming platforms.
That's true. That's true. And that's the evolution of music, evolution of hip hop, and also the evolution of marketing as well, too, which has changed
Right.
tremendously.
Yes.
From the 80s and 90s, selling records. Well, what it was selling 45, selling singles, right? Trying to sell singles, and now it's like trying to sell like songs and streaming. So it's changed tremendously over time. But when I talk about Nasty as They Want to Be, the first, Southern triple platinum or double platinum hip hop album, we're talking about 2 million albums. So do you know how hard it was to sell 2 million albums with the things that these guys were saying? Like, the guy was a genius. He was a forward thinker, and we give credit.
Yes.
We pay homage to Luke because of that, because he had a vision. He stuck with it. And one of the things I like, Kyle, and let you get the last word on this, is he didn't compromise who he was. You know what I mean? Like, he knew who he was. He knew he wanted to be nasty. He wasn't taking no for an answer. And one of the things that I saw when I do my research this week about Two Live Crew is he was on the Phil Donahue show, right? So he's on the Phil Donahue show, right? And like, if you guys go back and look at that video on YouTube, like, the people in the audience are stunned. It's like an audience full of white folks, and they like, yo, what in the hell is going on in here, yo? It's so bugged, man. But but he's revolutionized, and I'm glad that that hip hop went back and gave Lucas his props with the I Am Hip Hop Award from the BET Awards a few years back, recognizing what he's done for hip hop, his contributions to hip hop. And it's great to see how we've evolved these shit. Without Luke, we wouldn't have like the Baby and some of the things that the bigger hip hop artists now, that talk
Yeah.
about sexually explicit things. You know what I'm saying? So That would not exist if it wasn't for Luke. I'm just keeping it real. But Kyle, what are your final thoughts on this?
Like, you know what? Look at it. Let piggyback off that, man. You know, without Luke, and Big Yin Yang twins.
Yeah.
Be those little hip hop party songs that you know that comes on and everybody's out on the dance floor like, hey, that's my jam.
Yeah.
He's done a whole lot, man. Like, you know, going to Donahue, you know, like, hey, he went on there and he expressed himself. Hey, this is me. I like to get nasty. I like nasty shit that happens. Like cheek shaking. This is what I do. This is what I love. And if you don't like it, you can skip to the next song. You know, and that's, you should be able to be free to express yourself for who you are, what you love to do. Hey, he wasn't ashamed of who he is, his personality. He was going to show it to the world. Hey, I like ass shaking. That's pretty much how it was. And, you know, you look at that and that should, you know, probably, you know, whatever outlet that you may choose, you know, saying people may not be into the ass shaking, or people may be more into like the more hip hop, but don't be afraid to express yourself.
Yeah.
You know, look at what he does. You know, he was successful for doing it. You know, I'm just gonna put myself out there. You can hate it or love it.
Yeah, and the people loved it, and they still love it, right? And they still love it. People still playing Luke records, you know, to this day in 2020, man. But Kyle, we got to start wrapping things up, my dude. And
right, man.
And you know what, man? Like, just listen to you, man. I really truly appreciate your point of view on this and your knowledge. And you are more than welcome to come back anytime you want to, my brother. You got a free pass.
Man, it was an honor for you to have me on here, man. I really appreciate it, man.
No doubt, man. So in Diggie A-2 fashion, we do shout outs, man. So who do you want to shout out this week, man? Who do you want to see this show and see you on YouTube this week,
so man? Like everybody out there on One Voice Radio, whoever follows One Voice Radio, my peoples out there, Kansas City, we out here, man. You know, shout out to, you know, Mills, Vita, Jane, legendary Black Line, Damian Smith. Shout out to my partner in Rap Crime, Gnosis, Sick Team. They slid through yesterday, man. Shout out to them. Shout out to King Tut, Biggie Love, Brandon, man. Shout out to him, man. You know, T-Ron, man, the whole squad, man. Everybody that's part of One Voice Radio. Man, it's it's the shout out goes to them, man. It's a family. We come together and we make it work.
No doubt, man. And my shout outs are simple as well. So first I want to give a shout out to you, Cal. Shout out to One Voice Radio for their event yesterday that me and Jess were able to be invited to. Awesome event, man. I'll have the link down here in the description below how you all can connect with One Voice Radio. And One Voice Radio, you guys, is free, so there's no excuse for you not to get on there and support our underground independent artists that are trying to get on, that are hungry. And if you know anybody that is independent, reach out to me, reach out to Kyle. I'll put his information out there as well. So, and you know, we want to spread love. We want to make sure, like I mentioned, I think I mentioned this earlier, but everybody has a voice, everybody has a lane, and there's enough room for all of us to shine, man. I'm sure about that. There's enough room for everybody to get on. And my last shout out is going to go to my brother who was on the show with me last week, who just earned his master's, man, in business administration. So, Matt, shout out to you, my dude. I love you, man. Thank you for thinking in them books, man. It's going to pay off homage for you later on. And welcome to the club, my dude, because my master's downstairs hanging on the wall, man. So I appreciate you, man. But all right, Kyle. So next week, man, we're doing Salt and Pepper, and we're going to have one of your compadres on here with us, Vita. So I'm so excited to have Vita on here talking about Salt and Pepper, man. We're going to chop it up, talk about that. And in all seriousness, man, shout out to you. Shout out to your movement. Shout out to the fans. And once again, shout out to hip hop. All right, y'all be easy, man. Take it easy. One love.